as most of you probably know, I've been doing Rust console content for a long time. In fact, I've been doing it for longer than the game has actually been out for. Before the release of the console edition of Rust, I was doing updates on the game, and with the game's release, I really started to drill down and focus on the game. In the last couple of months, I have tried to focus on more positive aspects of the game, and I've made less videos because of it, but I think that's good because I want to put good vibes out into the world. Unfortunately, there is still one thing missing from the console edition of Rust, and if you didn't guess by the title, that would be community servers. The history here is very, very bad. I'm just going to be completely upfront with it. So community servers were originally promised for the console edition of Rust on the release of the game, maybe a few months after the game was released, but it was said that they would be coming. They'd been worked on, they were out, they were ready to go. And then 6 months passed and there was nothing. A year passed and there was nothing. We're almost to 2 years since the release of the console edition of Rust, and there's still nothing. Every now and then there will be a teaser, an update, a screenshot that's released, and everybody will think we're getting close. But it never seems to come to fruition. And recently a lot of people have been asking me about it, so I decided to go to D11 and ask them what's going on with community servers. And unfortunately, I don't have any special news or anything that I can bring to you. All I can say is the last time I've heard community servers mentioned by D11 was in Dev Blog 12, which was released on the 23rd of November, 2022. That's right, it's been almost 6 months since community servers were last mentioned, and I wanted to make this video to just say that that is extremely unacceptable. Community servers were originally supposed to launch with the console edition of Rust. That game was launched almost 2 years ago. This was something that was promised, and this is a promise that a lot of people took to the bank, drew some money, and bought the game known as Rust. Usually when I do a video like this, I'm hoping that I can give people some aspect of the community servers, give them a little glimpse of hope, and unfortunately, I don't think I can do that this time. Would love to be able to say what's going on. I would love to be able to give you a sneak peek. I would love to say that, hey, in August of this year, we're going to get community servers, but the fact is, I thought this is something that would actually be released pretty close to the release of the game. I'm a developer. I understand how a lot of this works. I'm not a game developer, full disclosure, but I understand how programming works. I understand how video games work. I understand what code can be taken from here, put into here, and what code can't. If someone sells me a fantasy, usually I can figure it out. Usually I can say, hey, you're not going to be able to completely decentralize a video game because that is very hard to do and you're going to run into lag issues. But with the console edition Rust, that isn't what's going on. That definitely isn't what's going on. So there are some aspects of community servers that are extremely hard to do. Maybe it would be hard to set up moderation with a controller, but other games have done that, so I don't think that's the case. Maybe it would be hard to make a 420x server or a 69x server. I get it. A 2x server, though, that actually exists on the test branch. A PvP server, that again exists on the test branch and sometimes on the main branch. A build server, again, that exists already. Putting a server behind a password, that's not hard to do. You can find that code on Stack Overflow and probably copy it over in under a day. Wow, we're developers, so probably under a week, and we'd say a week and it'll probably take a month, but you get the picture. They've still had enough time to do all of that. So what is the delay? Why is it taking so long to release community servers? Well, Rust, the developers of the console edition Rust at least, are saying that it's because the cost would be too high, but I don't understand it. They're selling skins for $10. They're selling skin packs for $20. They're asking insane prices and players are willing to pay it. Whether or not they should be, that's up to everybody individually. If I go out to eat and I pay $10 for a cocktail, that's worth it to me, but not to some people. In the same sense that skins are sometimes worth it to some people, but not to others. And community servers go the same way. If they're asking $50 a month for community servers, is it a steep bill? Yes, it is. Would some people be willing to pay it? Of course. Should they release it at whatever price it's costing? I think so, because at this point it has been so long that they need to release something, even if coming through with their promise means saying, hey, this isn't what you wanted, it's going to cost you a lot. They should still go ahead and do it, but they're not. And I cannot explain why that's the case. This is the thing that bugs me so much. I cannot tell you why community servers aren't being released, because when I look at it from a development aspect, from a designer aspect, from any sort of aspect that I can look at it from, I just don't see a reason. The fact that we have servers to play on means that community servers could exist. The fact that people actually are willing to spend a lot of money on skins, a lot of money on video games, a lot of money to host servers means that there would be at least a few people willing to pay in and host a community server. In fact, early days, I was one of them. I don't know if I do it anymore just because of how how horrible this whole thing has been. But there are people that are willing to pay for community servers no matter what the cost. So I just don't understand why we've got this delay. I don't understand why it's being pushed back so much. Maybe there's some sort of contractual issues. Maybe there's issues behind the scenes that can't be sorted out, that can't be worked out. But I don't understand why every now and then they'll come up in a dev blog and they'll say, hey, we're working on it. We've got a team working on it. Don't tell me you've got a team working on it if it's a team of lawyers, because you know what people are going to assume. They're going to assume it's a team of developers. They're going to assume that there's something wrong, that there's something being fixed. And when I look at this objectively, I just can't see what is being fixed. It's like I'm sitting inside of a kitchen, I'm looking and I say, well, the stove works. Yes. The oven works. Yes. The sinks work. Yes. There's running water. Yes. There's a microwave. Yes. It has power. Yes. It has plates, everything that I need to cook. But then someone tells me I can't cook in it. And I ask them why. And they say, well, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? What is exactly wrong with this kitchen? It's got everything that I need. If I want to make a pot of ramen, I can get the water. I've got the pot. I've got the ramen, put it in. Like, what isn't working here? And for some reason, I feel like D11's unable to tell us what isn't working, but they're not releasing community servers. And the fact that community servers would probably make them money is something else that blows my mind. They're refusing to make money, and I don't understand why. This is something that goes completely against anything that I'd think of as a developer, as an investor, as a person who likes video games. You've got a player base that wants to pay for something. You've got the thing that they want to pay for. You have some sort of hosting company that you're using to host your own servers. So why don't you let the people pay to host their own servers? Maybe they're worried about it splintering the community. Maybe they're worried about the fact that there aren't enough players and they would ruin things. I don't know, but the fact is, it doesn't seem like any of this is going to get any better. And if your hope is that you're going to magically get more players, I don't think that's going to happen. If the player base is dropping, a lot of the time they're probably dropping because things haven't come through when they've been told that they'd come through. And one of the biggest things that's happened with is community servers. So it's just, I want to make a video talking about it. I want to make a video explaining these frustrations because I think it needs to be done. I think someone needs to hold D11 accountable, and probably I'm one of the bigger voices that could do it. So that's what I'm doing here. But at this point, I'm not even mad about it. It's not something that I'm horribly upset about. I understand that there's a lot of people that feel ripped off, and rightly so, because they paid good money expecting to be able to buy community servers and they still can't buy them. But for me, that's not the main reason that I bought the game. It would be very cool to have, but it's okay with me that I don't have it. I just don't. I want an answer for why I don't have it. As someone who does these videos where I'm talking about the console edition of Rust, what's coming to the game, why people should be excited, it would be nice to be able to explain why people don't have community servers, because it's something that I've actually been telling people they should be excited for a long time, probably almost 2 years now. So it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, I know we were all psyched for community servers. We all hoped they'd come out, but this is why they're delayed. This is why it's okay for it to be delayed, or this is why it's not okay for it to be delayed. And we haven't had any of those answers. So this is my video venting about what's been going on and sort of calling out D11, because at this point, I think we need some answers. And I think it's about time that you give them to players. It's about time that you drop this whole act of saying community servers are coming. They should be out soon. We're working on them. We'll let you know what's going on. It's time for some transparency and to actually say what the reality is. Are community servers something that players can expect, or is this a pipe dream? Are you just stringing players along, gaslighting them, getting them to buy the game because you want more money? Or is it something that there is a legitimate reason for being delayed? Maybe there's legal issues. Maybe you can't say anything due to those legal issues. But even so, there's got to be a way for you to notify players what is going on, because a lot of players spent money on this. I don't know how much, but I've got to imagine there's thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars that have been made from players buying the game expecting something that never comes. And to be fair about this whole thing, this isn't something that's new for the gaming industry. It's been happening for years and years and years. But that doesn't mean that it isn't a problem. It's not fair to customers to keep promising something and never delivering it. It's not fair to make money off of broken promises and dreams that you're selling people. What is fair is to make money off a legitimate product that you sell to people. If something happens with that product, if you release it in beta, or you release it even in gold, and then for whatever reason you can't deliver the full product, the full promise, that should be okay as long as you have a reasonable explanation for it. A delay should be okay as long as you have a reasonable explanation for it. But at this point, no one's heard any of that. We've just heard that they're coming out. Just be patient. And 2 years is fairly patient, especially when you're talking about games that usually have a lifespan of only a couple of years. We don't know how long the console version of Rust is going to last, but at this point, it feels like community servers are going to be out long after it's dead. Hopefully that's not the case, but that remains to be seen. Thanks for listening. Until next time, peace.